Hey team, welcome to Inside the Movie Photographer with Jasin Boland. Today I've got episode 2 of our 3-part series with Game of Thrones photographer Helen Sloan. Quick recap, Helen was the principal photographer for 10 years on Game of Thrones. Now, for those that didn't see the intro on the first ep, I've never seen a single episode of Game of Thrones. So for me, everything I know about Game of Thrones is through Helen's photographs. So I've found it amazing talking to her. She's always entertaining. She's got great passion and great heart for photography. And I think that she's an absolute inspiration for anyone that sees her images. So let's get straight into it. Enjoy.
I love it, everything he does. Is this portrait session or is this unit coverage?
This was a portrait session that we didn't have a studio, and I only had very minimal kit with me, and I just ran out to the guys in the yard and I was like, to the props guys, I just said, if you got a big dirty piece of material that looks like a sail, I need a sail. And then like, yeah, we've just struck a boat. You can have one of the sails, and then
actual sail.
Yeah, an actual sail, and then we just threw it over some boxes and then lit what we could with Liam. And I love it. And Liam's great. He just loves it. He just milks it. It's great. He's fantastic to shoot. He's brilliant.
I love it. Oh,
yeah. Tears
of blood. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was that season 1? I can't remember. Oh, it's terrible. I think it's the Battle of Blackwater. And I remember when we shot this, my daughter was about 14 weeks old or 12 weeks old, something like that. It was like 4 weeks of.
Oh, is this her episode?
Really mad night shoots. No, she's the end of season 2.
All right. Oh gosh.
I know.
You had smoke a lot too, right? So
a lot of smoke.
The smoke was bleeding through your images a lot, which is just a beautiful thing for us, right?
We had a lot of smoke, and there's some snow going on in the throne room.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, that was one of my kind of impromptu studio sessions where you just kind of grab them and drag them to wherever you've managed to set up your studio. I mean, I think the best studio I ever set up was in a field of cows. I found an unused marquee in the corner of a field of cows, and I was like, right, Trev, that's us for today. And there was a cow scratching its ass up against the whole night, and I was like, that cow is going to knock this entire tent over. So yeah, good times in Northern Ireland.
They yeah, right, because it's really rare to have a photographer on full-time on a television series. So I think that looking at your images really shows the advantages of doing that. I mean, especially on a show such as this, which will live on in pop culture for generations.
Yeah, I know. It's good. It's crazy to kind of think of it like that, but it's true.
It really is.
But I mean, Thrones had such a massively high demand for material, especially as it snowballed and the seasons went on. They couldn't not have had photography from every day, because every day we shot something important, and every day there was so many cast that you really needed someone there all the time to record it properly. You could have recorded it some way, but to do it right and then to end up with such a huge library of images is fantastic. And I think that wasn't my decision, but it was, they really played that one very well, because often, if you're going to do something, it's like, a day here, a day there, whatever. But this way, they played it really well.
Yeah, no, it's a real tribute to your work. And now this is, I love this shot, and I love it for many reasons. And although it's a static action shot, there's a lot of movement in it. And we've spoken about this before, as in when I'm shooting action, I like to shoot as slow a shutter speed as what I can get away with. And you can't photograph snow, water, or sand that's moving with a fast shutter even
Yeah.
if you've got the light, you have to shoot it so that you get this just wonderful dribbling effect.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's funny. I think at a certain point, everything becomes second nature. The technical things become second nature, and you just know what to do. And when you're faced with snow and movement and hair and a stunt, your brain kind of triangulates all the information without you really knowing that you're doing it. And once you get to that point, you're really free to then be creative.
Yeah.
It's not like anyone with a camera. There's so many people who can use a camera and they can paint by numbers, but I think there's a difference with stills. There really is a difference. I'm sorry, I don't know where I'm going with that.
No, well, I know where you're going with it, I think, and it's about drenching your style with an image. It's like, you and your camera are a team. I mean, you got to be the boss of the camera, but you're making you're stamping your style on every image. And I can look at photographs, whether it be from Game of Thrones or your other projects, and I go, oh yeah, that's Sloaney's. So here it is again, with the rain. It's just, I mean, that you had a lot of exposure that day. You could have been shooting that, by the looks of it, you could have been shooting it at 500th, 1,000th, but you pulled it back so that you can get that life into it.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a lot of people frequently telling me that I've done things wrong, or that I've graded things wrong. Well, if there's a formula to it and I would have got it right, then surely everybody's photographs would look the same. And I'm like, this is my painting. This is my painting of what happened in front of me, and it comes naturally. It's like anyone can paint by numbers, but this is my interpretation of the story that I learned. I read the script, I learned the story, and this is my interpretation of what was lit and shot that day, because it's not just a frame grab from the movie camera. This is something else. A still is something else. It's a moment, it's a fragment, but it has to be more than that.
Yeah.
And you have to record it with soul. You have to go into it with soul. If you don't, there's no point. It's just boring.
I get with my Mad Max stuff, I get accused of over processing, and it's kind of funny because I only do like 3 tiny pieces to it. But one of the things with the tonal contrast is it leaves a little halo, and I can get rid of that halo. And everyone's like, oh, it's over processed. It's like, well, actually, if you want to listen to why I colored it like this, and it's all to do with the atmosphere and showing that, post-apocalyptic world, that the atmosphere is thin, and it's like photographing underwater. The closer you get, the clearer it gets. And I'll go into that at another time, but on myself. But yeah, I hope you get a chance to come and listen to that, because it's interesting for me to hear what you do, because it's exactly the same process that I do, and I don't care what anyone says whatsoever. It's over processed. Yeah. It might be over processed to you, but it's not the world that I created in my head.
Yeah, I don't think there's any such thing as over processing when you're dealing with fantasy, especially.
Yeah.
I think you can do whatever the hell you want within the producer's parameters, and as long as you understand that you still have to represent the DOP, you still have to represent the people who have brought this to life. There's me. there's a seesaw that you have to kind of be on with these things, and 100%. That was the planned.
So that's with the version 1 of the Aquatech sound blimp too, right?
Yes, the old workhorse. I love my Aquatechs. I still use them. It's like, it's not. I'm still not over the mirrorless just yet. I think there's always going to be a place for blimps in my bag. I couldn't ever picture getting rid of them completely. It seems crazy to me.
Yeah, especially for heavy action. I still use my blimps as well. But did you, when you first started 10 years ago, were you still shooting some film, or were you fully digital?
I was still shooting some film on the when I first started, and then it really very quickly went over. I mean, way back when I was doing not movies, when I was doing circus, I shot a lot of film. But then as soon as digital better and bigger, everybody wanted your images straight away because they could have them straight away. And I think it became about speed and about finance, because obviously film costs more, digital in their mind was free. So as soon as digital became a possibility, that's all anybody wanted, you know. So it just overnight, almost, I felt like people were like, okay, put your film camera in a cupboard somewhere, that's for holidays and arty things, you know. And it's fine, digital's great, everything's got its merit, you know. You can't say one thing is not real. I hear that a lot. It's like, oh, but it's not straight out of camera, or oh, it's not real. It's like, nothing's straight out of camera, nothing ever was.
No, digital for me revolutionized my world as a still photographer. It's like, you know, you were able to, especially with action where our lives are governed by shutter speed, just being able to push that limit by a third of a stop or third of a shutter really made a difference. Whereas with film, you know, we had to play it relatively safe, you know, to get the exposure correct. And now, you know, you can use a combination of getting the exposure exactly right by using the EVF or the screen. And then I underexpose a lot so that then I can just push it back up in CC later. But yeah. And now this next shot, I was like, went through and it's like, oh, got to come back. Oh, little baby. Whose baby's that?
That's my baby. And that's Dad, as she calls him. And we were in the there's like a health food shop in Belfast called Holland and Barrett, and there was a picture of Jasin on I think it was Men's Health or something. There was this photograph of Jasin, and and my daughter pointed at it and said, "Look, it's my TV dad." And the lady made have to say, "You sad, sad woman, what have you told this child?" And I was like, "Yes, come on."
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah. Oh, that's such a priceless image for her to have and to show her own children when she's older.
I know, she is proud of it. She obviously can't remember it, but she knows and Jasin that we're in the scene with her, and she loves when she sees them on a commercial or when she sees them on TV. And I love that she feels connected to a job that, you know, I have been doing her whole life, you know. It's great when your kids are proud of you. It's a really special feeling.
But, it really is.
Yeah.
Wait, she how old is she now?
She's 8. She's soon be 9.
8. Okay, wait till she gets to Hunter's age in 12, and then that kind of goes a little bit.
Oh,
no. But his friends are. He gets flex at school because of the Instagram numbers, which I'm sure works for you too.
Oh, she doesn't even know what that is. So she just likes that she sees these people on TV and knows that they've been in our house. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, right. Oh, this is one of your portrait sessions too, right?
Yeah, that was. I think that was in the back of the plasterer's workshop, I think.
Is this in the back of the plasterer's workshop?
Yeah.
Hey, the studios are down near the Titanic exhibition, correct?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Did you shoot this strobe or was it constant?
Strobes.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, I love a lighting setup. I love to kind of have that little moment where it's just, you know, me and the actor and, you know, Trevor or Dee or whoever's in the studio with me that day. It's like, you know, I love to feel like it's my set then, you know, you have that little moment where you're in charge and, you know, the actor trusts you, and it's great. It's a nice little kind of, it's a nice little break from set to do those.
Yeah, I mean, people talk about it all the time about what we do on a film set, and you know, do you want to be a DP or this or whatever? And it's like I've always found that our work is closer to being a director than being a director of photography.
Well,
it's that moment.
Oh, you know, it's a little bit of everything. I think, you know, you have to you have to be a bit of a jack of all trades to do this job. I mean, you're not only are you a landscape photographer, you're a portrait photographer, you're a studio photographer, you're a documentary photographer. You know, you're oftentimes when you're doing close-ups on costumes or whatever, it feels like some kind of medical photography. And
Yeah.
so you have to have that creative flexibility, you know, like all the time, multiple times a day at the drop of a hat. So
Yeah. No, that's so true. It's we're talking about it. Yes, you know, even with our work, of course, we've photographed, you know, dozens of weddings on set. But you know, even wedding photographers, their style of photography is quite similar to that of an on-set photographer, and you know, it's good training, all that sort of stuff. Hey, Sloanie, actually, it's a question that I get all the time, and before I forget, while we flick through a couple more images, or a couple more because we've got lots, which are just blowing me away just quietly. So, what's your advice to the young still photographer that wants to get into, well, the young photographer who would like a career in the film industry, film and TV industry as a unit still photographer?
I think the advice that I'm constantly with the producer or network at some kind of event with total confidence in who you are, not just your work.
Yeah, good. Yeah, totally. Yeah, good point. And any style, any photography tips that you've got out there? You know, like, you know, for me, it's I only ever shoot a camera on manual. I don't. I've never used anything else. I mean, is there anything else without any shortcuts? Because I don't believe in giving shortcuts, but I'm more than happy to be an open book on creativity. But the shortcuts don't happen. We never got them.
Yeah. I think one thing that really tested me to the limit, and you know, I feel like you should be testing yourself to the limit. Don't think that you're just going to take photos of famous people who are going to stand there for you for 5 or 10 minutes. Or I think some people think that you get an actor for an hour, you know, and it's just pie in the sky. It's just a complete, you know, lie. But I think if you go and shoot something that you're not particularly interested in, but go and shoot it well, like maybe like go and shoot, I mean, I love motorbikes and stuff, but go and shoot fast motorbikes, a bit of action, because you're maybe not going to come across a sword fight easily. Go and shoot a sporting event, you know, go and shoot something difficult like children or animals. Go and shoot things that are going to test just your skills, because I think when you go on a film set, you're going to have to be able to just take a photo. You can't talk about like, oh, okay, I need this much of a shutter speed, I need to do it, because by the time you've done that, it'll have happened. It's gone. It's done. You've missed it, you know. And the only thing that is consistent on a film set is that you have to get it right every time. So
yeah, there you go.
Get yourself to a point where you can get it right every time. Or
yeah, I think community sports are good place to go to, because you know they're usually pretty compliant. Everyone wants photographs, and you've got good arenas there where you can go and photograph football outside, or you can go and do basketball inside, or you know, in my case, it's hockey, and you know, it's you got to have the right gear, and you can hone your skills down along those ways, because it's not always possible to go and work on a student film or you know, live theater, but there's other areas that you can, as you were saying, you know, go and find something.
Yeah, and circus is always good as well because there's a lot of street performers. There's a lot of,
Oh yeah.
and like at the minute in Belfast, there's the Festival of Fools, which is an outdoor circus festival, and you just see so many photographers in the audience taking pictures. But just a word of advice to those photographers is just remember there's an audience. Don't stand in front of anybody. You've got to stay back and still be able to get the image that you want, because on a film set you'll not be first in line. You know, you gotta be able to do it from far away, or do it from a weird position, or do some kind of human origami, you know.
That's a really that's another good point which I hadn't thought about, because our job is to shoot without being shot, and you can really, if you're at a live theatre or, you know, a circus, whatever, that you really can practice that skill by not being in people's way, and, you know, finding a spot, maybe, you know, sitting in the stairs, or just, you know, a longer lens. I mean, obviously getting down with an eye line, with the correct eye line, as we can see here, it makes an image pop so much better. But yeah, even if you're sitting on the ground, or, you know, speak to people and ask if it's cool.
Yeah, the most important people at a circus show outside or on a film set are like, in the circus, it's the audience. The audience are the most important people. Don't get in the way. And on a film set, there's a giant list of people who are who need you to not be in their way. So, you know, it's paramount that you learn that skill of being, I mean, people keep saying it, a fly on the wall, but it really is true. You know, you definitely don't want to be a bull in a china shop.
Yeah, and pick your battles too. Pick your fight, so to speak, as in, you know, there's no point in fighting over a crap image just because you feel like you should be there. It's almost 9/10 of the law is knowing what to walk away from, and then what battle to fight. And they know that, you know, when you come in and say, hey, I really need this, they know you mean it. You know, it's a little bit not crying wolf.
I think that's advice for life.
Yeah, right. I love this shot. Oh, where is this?
Where is that? That is in a quarry called Macramorn, just outside Larne. It's about, I don't know, 30-minute drive from Belfast, but we built a kind of a battlefield called, like a village called Hardhome, and this is a battle that happened in Hardhome. There were giants in it. You'll love it when you watch it.
I don't need to. I've got my personal commentator here. I just ring you whenever I want to. Hey, Sloaney, what happens in that? I've got to talk to someone who's a big fan.
Yeah, he dies, but then he comes back to life. And then he dies.
Oh, good.
Back to life.
Which one? Then he dies like that, and then he lives again, and then he dies. This is a great BTS.
Yeah, that was fun. I actually had just wandered off to go to the bathroom, and then happened upon this madness. So,
hey, you know what? That is not as rare as what you think. Like, you just go somewhere. The amount of shots that I've got while I was leaving early, walking to the car park.
Yeah, it's funny, you know, because like you get made fun of, like, what are you doing taking your camera to the toilet? And it's like, well, do you know what, guys? It never stops for stills, because everything is good. Like I keep saying, you know, there's so many people doing so many things around the studio, around the lot. Like if I went for a wander without my camera and something amazing happened, I would kick myself. It just never stops for us, because we are the documentarians of the whole process.
I take my camera to lunch. I feel weird if I don't have it. It's like exactly that. And not that I'm going to photograph people eating, but, you know, it's on the way there, or, you know, and I feel like a little bit naked without it. I don't want a producer or anyone seeing me sitting there without my camera, because it's, you know, what is it? It doesn't weigh that much. It's like, you know, take it with you. You never know. I think maybe it's the newspaper days as well.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure. Oh. Just love it. I have to keep looking up at the big screen, because it's like, I mean, I purposely don't look at them too much before, because I just want to be as surprised as everyone else that is so privy to this incredible privilege to be able to chat to you. Is that you, Sloanie? It is
That's
too.
me. That's me in the front with my photo shoot team. At the end of every season, we had the great fun task of photographing the props, costumes, and weapons that we had made each season. So we spent like 3 days in the studio after everyone else had left, and I always did a little team photo at the end for the group. And it's just great fun to be able to be up close and personal and kind of handling things, and just spending 3 days with all this stuff that people are dying to get their hands on. And
yeah, exactly, and it's almost a little bit of chill time too, that you can do it in your own time instead of having to be working under someone else's schedule.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it. We made like a little time lapse every year as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's fun.
Oh, you'll have to show me. I'm sure that one's a secret one, but you'll have to show me so I can check it out. I love a good slate shot.
Yeah, you got to get those. It's like it's like it proves it was a TV show or a movie. For some reason, everybody loves to just see the clapperboard.
I know, and so many big productions now have secret names on them, and it's like, oh, that kind of sucks. It's like, it's all over IMDB, but then when it comes to slate, like just recently, I had a film and we had to black out all the the previous name on the slates, which was like, oh, it's a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
And then you get these moments when I'm getting the idea that there's not a great deal of smiling in Game of Thrones, so to see a smile is really nice and refreshing.
They were all best buds by the end of it, I don't think you can spend 10 years. I mean, Kit wasn't a child when we started. There was a lot of kids, but I mean, he still, in a way, grew up. He had all of his 20s. It's like these really defining times in people's lives, and I mean, how could you not bond forever?
Yeah.
This is the job that made a lot of them famous. And
yeah, that's true. And we're friends with Art Parkinson, who was in a couple of series, I think. And Hunter I know. Well, Hunter was in Dracula with him, and I mean, Hunter was only like he was like a featured extra. He was on like 60 days or 40 days or something. I can't remember, but him and Art would hang out all together, and then Art came over to Australia to do San Andreas. So we got to hang out and see them again. Just a lovely family, the whole Movina, the whole family, just wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I love this. I could look at your work all day.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm sorry for taking up so much time, but I can't shut you down yet. It's going to be. I'll let you go soon.
No,
not too soon.
I don't mind. I'm not doing anything anyway tonight. It's all good.
What's the time over there? It must be getting on midnight, right?
It's like, I don't care. It's after midnight now, but it doesn't matter.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, see. Yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing about
keep going. We're only once. Keep going.
Yeah, right. With dolly with tracks, how you can line them all up for the still that to lead us, give us some direction, and the lines that are to, and like you got the scrim in the background and all these different angles. I just love BTS for me, and I think that you were saying before for yourself as well, it's like that's sort of our landscapes on a film set.
I mean, I love BTS because I think people, anybody can come in and take a photo of people all like, hey, there's a real skill to capturing these moments of people being so still and beautiful at their work, because we're documenting people's lives and their art and how they live, how we live on film sets. And there are so many silent moments where people are just focused and concentrating. And I love that because it's almost as beautiful as what the actors are doing when you just get those little moments of the crew just being so concentrating, I love watching people work.
Yeah, same here. It's like sometimes when you're watching watching a performance from an actor, you know, delivering 5 pages, 10 pages or something like that, it's like sometimes I just put the camera down and watch, because it's like it's such a privilege to see these people, you know, deliver their work. And then you've got the concentration of the camera team and the dolly grip, and you know, everyone hitting their, it's not just the actors hitting lines and marks, it's the camera department hitting their lines and marks as well. And you're right, it's a real privilege to watch these extreme professionals at the top of their game doing their stuff. And you know, I've been doing this thing called 5 photo folio, which is have you heard of the game 5 Car Garage?
Yes.
So it's like you get your 5 favorite photographs, or 5 photographs that you just choose, and we've been doing like 6 photographers as a chat, and we go through each other's images. So you should come, and maybe I'll do a BTS one or whatever, but it means that I can have you back on again at the very least. So
yeah.
you'll be in that, right?
Yeah, of course.
Cool. Oh, just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful light. This is one of your portrait sessions with the strobes too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we got into the real, you know, a real way of it, and everyone got used to it. And I think that's a real kind of privilege for me as well, is that everyone was used to me and the way that I work, you know, and we've got these kind of recurring cast every year, and they just kind of know what to expect from my end of things. And that just, so as the job went on, although the work would get, you know, there'd be more expectations, we'd have bigger units, there'd be more demands for material, but it got easier because people knew what I needed to get, you know.
Yeah.
I think so as the amount went up, the stress kind of went down, and it was this constant kind of nice balance to it as time went on.
So with this, is your light your lights, obviously it's a hot, you only look like you got a couple of lights in there, but is it high and it's almost profile, right?
I've got, how many lights do I have on her there? 1, 2, 3.
3.
Yeah, 3 lights.
So have you got something punching from the front, or the key light is the high profile?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's beautiful, which gives you the little beautiful triangle there on the eye, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. Oh, I love it.
That was great. Those girls worked so hard.
That's a great moment. Oh.
Yeah, it's nice that when everyone knows you, you know. I think I'm a bit spoiled really when I look back on it, you know. But it's all about building those relationships, you know. So
yeah, where's this?
That's the North Coast.
Is that where that you know, where those funny shaped rocks are?
Giant's Causeway. Houses.
Yeah. Is that near there?
Yeah, it's around the corner.
All right. Okay. Cool. I've been there. And hey, so you shot Iceland too, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
That's
there's with your newer blimps. That's generation 2.
Yeah, you see, got them all. And there's one of my 5-car garage cars, my tractor.
Hey, you know I designed those blimps for all you guys, right?
Yeah, I do know that, and we're eternally grateful.
I had to fight tooth and nail to make sure that it was a glass filter and not an acrylic one, because they use acrylic for the underwater. And I know, right? And I'm like, no, you don't understand. We're pointing cameras at lights constantly. And it was nearly the breaking point. It was that Alan, the owner of Aquatech, was like, no, but we use acrylic for underwater. And it's like, yeah, but underwater with acrylic, it doesn't matter, because all those fine little scratches get filled with the water, which makes it like a perfect piece of glass. So because it was, I think they were like the glass ports for the blimps were like 200 or 300 US each, and they were worried that it was going to limit the how many people would take them on. But as it proved, it came at the right time. With Mark Jacobson was slowing down who we owe him a hell of a lot for the blimps that he made, and then Aquatech sort of took over to a degree from there, and now hold on to our blimps, because thankfully they're so hardy that we only have to change the foam inside. But I think they were pretty much a thing of the past, sadly. Oh, look at that.
God, yeah.
Oh.
Two very brave men there underneath that. Riley and Sean, yeah, and I think that's Richard on the back of the horse. But
for a still photographer, if you was there shooting it from the camera operator's position, it's a nothing shot.
Yeah.
But this is the image. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. I think as well, you have to. I mean, you got to understand what you're working with, and you have to even kind of study horses.
Yeah.
Because a crap photo of a horse can ruin what is a great photo of an actor, you know, because if the horse is all like, you know, or it looks it's a weird shape, or it's like foreshortened or something, it's, you know, it's not a good photo. Then the horse has to look good too, and for me, this is the best angle for the horse. So
is this in your book? I don't have one yet. I ordered one.
I don't know if it's in my book.
Oh, we're going to have to put a link downstairs to where everyone can buy it from too.
Yes, I think this one is in the book. Yeah.
Well, there you go. There's what you're talking about. Horses putting on a show.
Yes, the Headless Horseman. That's really funny because I just literally turned that page.
What? Hold on, I missed it. I was looking at the screen.
I just turned the page that had the horse on it when you brought that photo up.
No way.
Yeah.
By sheer luck.
Coincidence. Yeah. And I've lost it again because I closed it. But yeah, that happened. Yeah, the Headless Horseman.
Everyone else saw it.
Hilarious.
Hey team, so that was episode 2 of our chat with Helen Sloan. So we're getting down to the pointy end. So the next episode you're going to see is the last one. She has got such heart for photography and blows me away the thought pattern that goes into it and how she behaves and prepares herself on a film set. It's really quite something else. And I'm taking a lot of notes away from this for the way that I work. So please subscribe and please ring the bell so that you can be notified of the next episode. And for all future interviews that I do, I've got some incredible photographers that are on the way that want to share their story with you guys. So come and join us. Cheers.